Good morning to all. Today we'll be dealing the writing session, and in the writing skills we'll be learning descriptive paragraph. So, what is a descriptive paragraph? A description is a set of characteristics by which someone or something can be recognized. We can describe people, we can describe places and even events. By describing them, we are actually drawing a picture using words so that the reader is able to get a clear picture of the described object. A good description creates a clear mental image in the mind of a reader. So when we write a descriptive paragraph, we are describing something. When we do this, we must use words that will allow our readers to be able to see what we are writing about and without being able to actually see it. So when they read what we have written, they should be able to imagine that. They should be able to visualize that. So these type of words to use are strong verbs and colorful adjectives. Okay. So the words which we have to use for writing the descriptive paragraph, they are strong verbs and colorful adjectives. What is colorful adjectives? Colorful adjectives, it just means when we describe certain thing vividly using lot of adjectives, different adjectives, it gives a clear picture for the person who reads that. So let's go into detail. A good paragraph needs to have a topic sentence that addresses the main point. Then we should have details that will help us to describe and support the topic sentence. And there should be a concluding sentence that review what the paragraph is all about. Descriptive writing is writing that describes people, places, animals or objects in such a way that allows the reader to build a strong image in their mind. Good descriptive writing shows rather than tells. Let's take a look at an example of descriptive writing. The cool evening wind moaned, toying with the tiring tree branches. Leaves tumbled off the tiled roof and fell to the ground, burying the yard under a patchwork quilt of yellow and brown. A curious squirrel scampered down the trunk and disappeared into a rustle of leaves. Notice that this text shows more than it tells. It shows the reader it's windy. It shows the reader the season. Let's break down 4 components that makes for effective descriptive writing. Number 1. Pay attention to the details. Whereas regular writing might see a red apple, descriptive writing sees the details of the stem, the change in color, the spots on the skin, and the way it catches the light. Can you see anywhere in our example text that shows the author paid attention to the detail? Pause here while you look. Some examples are tiled roof, patchwork quilt of yellow and brown. Okay. The second component of strong description is descriptive language. We want to make sure we are using vivid verbs and precise adjective. Vivid verbs are verbs that allow the readers to clearly picture what action is taking place. They are more interesting for the reader than the average verb. Instead of break, how about scatter or fracture or smash? Instead of walk, how about hike or shuffle or stroll? Precise adjective are adjectives that are very accurate and specific in a way they describe. Instead of choosing multiple average adjectives, choose one precise adjective. Choose quality over quantity. See if you can find any vivid verbs and precise adjective here. Pause while you look. Moaned, trembled, burying, curious, tiring. etc. The examples. What effect did these word choices have on you, the reader? These words were chosen to help you build a stronger picture of the scene in your mind. The third component of descriptive writing is including multiple senses. It is easy to focus only on the things the reader should be seeing, forgetting to describe the other senses. Descriptive writing should also help us imagine what we could feel, the sounds, the taste, and the smells. Read over this passage again, this time looking out for what senses have been described. Pause here while you look. Here the author has focused on senses of sight, the tree branches, tiled roof, yellow and brown leaves. Here the author has described what the reader should hear, the wind moaned, rustle of leaves, and here the author has made descriptions to let the reader feel cool wind, tiring tree branches. Depending on what we are describing, including all of the senses can be difficult. At the end of the lesson, we'll be describing the little trick to help us with this. Number 4, organization. Our description shouldn't be just randomly thrown here and there. We should organize them chronologically. That is, by time, or we might choose to organize by order of importance. Or descriptions could be organized spatially. Description should be organized in a way we might focus on one part of an object and then move on to the other. For example, if we are describing a person, we might start by describing physical features and then move on to describing the actions. Or you might start at the top with their hair before moving down to their facial features and then on to their clothing. Can you work out how this descriptive paragraph has been organized? You can pause now. The description is organized in a way. It begins at the top of the tree right to the bottom where there are squirrels. Scamper off. Let's have a go through at doing something descriptive writing. We will use this picture to help us. Now, we don't need to stick exactly to what we see here. Let's just use it to help come up with the ideas. Let's start by brainstorming some verbs and adjectives we might like to use. I'm going to try to make sure I include some vivid verbs and precise adjectives. Pause here if you would like to come up with some of your own. How did you go? Here are some verbs I came up with. Sketched, reached, hung, floated, drifted, meandered, perched, stood, blew. And my adjectives: long, rickety, wooden, secluded, peaceful, calm, tranquil, soft, grey and blue. Now let's make sure we include multiple senses. Most of these words are going to describe what it looks like. These words here should describe the senses of touch. Can you think of anything we could add for taste, smell or hear? Here are some ideas we could play with. The sound of the water lapping against the clear, a scent carried on the breeze, the taste of salt in the air. Now, before we put our ideas together and start writing, let's take a moment to think about how we could organize our writing. Perhaps we could focus on one sense at a time, or maybe we could focus on one part of the setting and then move on to the next. Before you start, remember the purpose of your writing: to describe the scene in such a way that allow the reader to build a strong image in their mind. And we are going to try to do that by showing, not telling. Pause here while you write. How did it go? Here's a short passage I have written. If you like, leave your passage in the chat box below. Descriptive writing can be a lot of fun, and practicing your descriptive writing is easy. Just choose an object from around the house, a chair, a pie, a raindrop on the window. The more ordinary the object, the greater the challenge. Before we finish, a few tips for your descriptive writing. Number one, limit your use of the verbs from to be. That is, are, was, where. Number two, set a word limit. This can encourage us not to waste words. If a word or sentence is not doing an important job for you, get rid of it. Number three, play around with creative ways to include the five senses. Sometimes it can be tricky to include taste, for example, but perhaps you could use the words which evoke a taste to describe other aspects. For example, in our descriptive writing about the beach, we could have likened the color of the clouds to grapes. Not only could we have described the color, we could have cleverly included the sense of taste at the same time. Now let's see how to describe people. While describing people, we take care of the following points: height, like tall, short, medium, etc. We should take care of the build, like thin, underweight, plump, strong, sturdy, fat, overweight, and so on. We should describe the hair, whether it is long or short or curly, black or brown or grey. We should describe the eyes of the person, whether it is dark, brown, big or small. We can describe the complexion of the person, whether dark or fair or whitish or pale or even medium complexion. And the other features like the beard and mustache, then bushy eyebrows, broken teeth or broad chin, thick lips, long face or round face, oval face, just like that. The appearance of a person, like good looking or charming or ugly, smart person, handsome, beautiful, and so on. We can even talk about the qualities like the sincerity of a person. So sincere person, an intelligent person, a warm or patient, soft spoken, selfish, kind, honest, innovative, confident, punctual, and so on. Then we can say about the achievements of a person, if if it is a famous person, achievements of the person, the awards and recognition he has got, or if he or she has published any books, the publications, like books published by them or paper published by them, or the research which they have done, or the famous work which they have done, and so on. When we describe a place, we should consider to write the name of the place, the location, the history of the place, and what it looked like, the size or the appearance or the atmosphere over there. What is special about the place, and what you would like to do there, and do you recommend the place to visit? Do you recommend the place for others? And when we describe an event, again we should say what the event is. We should name the event, when it has happened, what has happened during the event, and who were the people involved in the event, and why was this particular event important. So this is how we usually write the description of person, place, and event. Now, for CBSE class 9, we have to write the descriptive paragraph about a person. So let's see an example for that. Description of a person is a biographical sketch of their lives from the birth to the present time, highlighting the major events and achievements during their lifespan. In short, it is a character sketch of a person and the events related to his life. Let's see a question. Write a short descriptive paragraph on the famous Indian scientist Sir C.V. Raman in 100 to 150 words on the basis of the following inputs. Born on 7th November 1888 in Madras, physician by profession, worked in the field of light scattering. The discovery is known as Raman effect. Won Nobel Prize in 1930 for his discovery. Elected Fellow of the Royal Society in 1924. In 1954, India honored him with its highest civilian award, Bharat Ratna. Breathed his last on 21st November 1970. This is the question, and let's see how to write the answer. Let's begin. Sir Chandrasekhara Venkata Raman, born on 7th November 1888 in the former Madras province of India, presently Tamil Nadu, was an Indian physician who carried out groundbreaking work in the field of light scattering. He discovered that when the light traverses a transparent material, some of the deflected light changes wavelength. This phenomena of Raman effect earned him the 1930 Nobel Prize for Physics. Raman was honored with a large number of honorary doctorates and membership of scientific societies. He was elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society early in his career in 1924 and knighted in 1929. He later resigned from the fellowship in 1968 for reasons unrecorded, the only Indian FRS ever to do so. In 1954, India honored him with its highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna, and celebrates National Science Day on 28th February of every year to commemorate the discovery of the Raman effect in 1928. Raman breathed his last on 21st November 1970. So that's all for today. Hope you understood what a descriptive writing is. Thank you all. Have a great day ahead.